Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and today we're going to talk about these Butler Creek 1022 magazines that I just bought. Not really spending a whole lot of money on other things these days, and had quite a bit of money laying around from not spending money, and I figured might as well get some magazines for the 1022 that I have on order. So I wanted to try out some of these Butler Creek magazines. I also bought, some magazines for another rifle as well. So I didn't want to spend too terribly much. So I decided to try the Butler Creek magazines. I wanted to try just a couple of them to see if they were any good. And so this is going to be my first impressions video. So just comparing them to, this is a BX25 magazine. This is your gold standard magazine when it comes to 1022s. And they look, as far as the feed lips go, they look pretty close. The plastic on the Ruger magazine comes up a little higher. It's a little just contoured a little bit different, but the feed lips themselves seem pretty similar. And these are the these are the steel lips versions of these Butler Creek magazines. There's a hot lips version as well, which has plastic feed lips and locking lugs. I don't like those. They're a little bit cheaper, but again, they're cheaper. They're a cheaper magazine. They're made cheaper. I wanted the steel lips. Generally speaking, you want to go with steel lip magazines on pretty much anything. But anyway, you have your steel locking lugs on the front and the back. The Butler Creeks are a clear color, so this is the smoke coloration, but it's still clear. I mean, you can still see your rounds when you put them in there. And of course, this is 25 rounds, just like the BX25. You can also get them in 10 rounds, I believe, which in my opinion is, you might as well not waste your money, because you get a 10 round magazine with the 1022, and these rotary magazines I think are superb. So why get a Butler Creek 1022 10 round magazine? Just kind of dumb, in my opinion. Other things about the Butler Creek magazines is they are not screwed together like the Rugers. So the Rugers, and with other aftermarket magazines, a lot of them they got these screws in them, and you can actually take the magazines apart to clean them. Butler Creeks, you do not have that. They are pressed and glued together, which I guess is okay. You do have a little hole at the bottom for draining if you get water in there, so the water can drain out, so that's kind of nice. And with pretty much all 1022 magazines that I know of, they have this constant pressure spring. So it's not like a traditional coil spring or a waffle spring, but instead it's like the spring is like a flat spring that kind of unravels. The best way I can describe this is like those slap bracelets. It's the same concept, where the spring is actually in here, and when you push down, the spring is unraveling, but it still has spring tension on the rounds. And it's just a different kind of setup. It's kind of cool, actually, and pretty reliable from what I know. Another thing about the Butler Creek magazines is you can clip them together. So you have, on the side, you have a hole, and you have a little peg. And so you just take the two and squeeze them together, and now you have 50 rounds. You have 25 one, you shoot through 25, flip it over, and then you got 25 more. Now the BX series of magazines with Ruger, they actually have what's called a BX 25 times 2, which is basically two BX 25s kind of formed together. They're just one magazine. They're not two magazines that you clip together. They're actually two different magazines that are actually just one solid piece. Kind of interesting, kind of different. They're really expensive. They're like $50+ and these are like $30. So you know, that's one reason why I decided to try out the Butler Creeks, is because they're like, I don't know, $5 or $6 cheaper than your BX25 magazines. But the question is, are they worth it to buy them at that a little bit cheaper of a price? We're going to find out. Now, I'm not going to go through and actually shoot any ammunition through these today, because this is a weekday and I got work tomorrow and don't really have time to go drive out somewhere and shoot. But as soon as I get my 1022, we're going to test them out. So we're just going to slap them in this rifle here. This is my girlfriend's 1022 Sporter that I got her for Christmas, and we're just going to see how they lock in there. So I probably should have put the Ruger magazine in first just for comparison, but not bad. It does lock in there. Let's try the next one. Seems pretty good. Now let's try the BX25 just for comparison. Pretty comparable. There's no sort of last shot hold open on a 1022, which I find kind of interesting, because it's like one of the only 22s on the market that doesn't have a last shot hold open as far as, you know, semi-automatics go. And it's like the 22 that everybody's like, man, you know, if you get a 22, you gotta have a 1022. It just kind of blows my mind that Ruger never engineered a last shot hold open, and there are other rifles out there that take from the 1022 design. I can think of at least two that, you know, they use 1022 magazines, but their factory magazine actually has a little feature on it that allows for last shot hold open on their rifles. Ruger doesn't do that. I don't know why. Maybe someday they will, but I'm not going to hold my breath. That is one thing I wish Ruger would do on the 1022, but I guess, you know, it's been made for over 50 years, and why change what's already there? You know, I don't know. Anyway, those are the Butler Creek Steel Lips magazines. These are just my first impressions, and my first impressions are they seem pretty decent. Some people like these, some people don't like these. So we're going to test them out. We'll test them out in this rifle. I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to let my girlfriend be the first one to shoot her own rifle. So I'm not going to shoot, I'm not going to, I'm going to wait for her before we try this one. But I have another 1022, and then I have another 1022 on order. So I'll have two other 1022s. I can test these out, and plus, whenever I get around to this one, we can test this one as well. And hopefully get some video footage on how well they do. But anyway, those are the Butler Creek 25 round Steel Lips magazines in the smoke coloration. They do make just a clear, where it's, you know, just basically it's just 100% clear. I kind of like the darker color, so that's why I went with that. But anyway, subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.